fundamentals of music are so very important. And a lot of tension with guitar can happen right here. And it's when you start using your pinky. And you're not used to using your pinky, and you go, my pinky is weak. And so the workaround becomes you just try to get the job done with your other three fingers. And as you avoid using the pinky more and more, it gets weaker and weaker. So it's like we're in a state of atrophy and arrested development, and we don't want that. So this video is not going to get you dates. It's not going to be inspiring. It's not going to make you feel like you're expressing yourself and really getting into the moment. It's just pure, dry, academic exercises. But that's the kind of stuff you need when you have a problem to fix the problem. And so it's universal as far as the need for our pinky. If you're into the finger picking stuff, you're gonna have a real hard time like on something like Struttin', like the Jerry Reed tune, where you need a lot of pinky strength for that bar. You're gonna, like the old Chet Atkins stuff, you're not gonna be able to do something like Little Rock Getaway, where you gotta be making these stretch chords. I mean, that's just a basic G triad, basically, but you're spanning 4 frets. And then down to the B7. Like blues and rock players, even if you feel like you can get stuck getting the job done with just third finger, you're not gonna really take it to the next level. I mean, like, how many times on Hendrix records do you hear that sharp 9 chord, and do you have a use for, I mean, like, think like Stevie Ray, like in Lenny. How many times are you reaching up and grabbing a note with your pinky? So I hope that was hilarious, because it was unscripted and unplanned and a very real source of anxiety in the moment. I was down here and I heard the alarm panel go off, and I was evidently playing that high SPL heavy duty rock and roll at high volume levels for the Stevie Ray Vaughan tone, the ultimate in breaking out of jail, the sound of playing like you're breaking out of jail. Speaking of which, the alarm went off, and perhaps the wrong choice of words. But nevertheless, I had to stop everything, go up, find out, okay, I tripped the glass sensor here in the basement because of my heavy-duty rock and roll. And here we are after I've called the alarm company and everything is back to normal. So I was about to say, even like in jazz lines, like you gotta have strength in your pinky, or if you want to play certain things, you're gonna be SOL. So like something like that is like a line that Sonny Rollins plays on a live version of There'll Never Be Another You, or like Wes Montgomery stuff where he's playing like a 2/5 lick. I mean, the pinky is in there. So if your pinky is really weak and you're not able to use it, I've given you what, like 4 or 5 examples of like stylistically problems you're gonna have. It doesn't matter if you're like the most purist 50s golden age Chet person, or like a jazz snob, or a blues rock one trick, you know, that's what you do and you do it really well. You gotta build some strength with your pinky. So I'm gonna give you 5 examples of really dry, academic, boring exercises, and they won't be fun, but they will get you some more strength in your pinky. This in conjunction with understanding how music works, and really actually you know, I would make the case for study how music gets fit together. And, you know, it's a combination of a lot of stuff that does not get high click rates and it's not popular. But I don't care. This is like, you know, if you want to get good, this is what we're concerned with. If you just want to, like, you know, play 2 notes over and over again, that's fine. But that's not what this is about. So, you know, I'm aiming this towards people, you know, if you want to turn into a virtuoso guitar player, you got to do the work. So the first exercise is coming up right now. In the first exercise, we're going to work primarily in the middle to the upper register of the guitar. And if you're playing a Strat or a Telecaster, anything with a Fender scale length, the scale length will be a little longer than if you're doing this like on a Gibson, on like a Les Paul kind of scale length. But the idea is the same. So you want to start and stretch between your index and your pinky. At first, it's going to be child's play. You're going to take your index 8th fret on the high E string, and your pinky on the 9th fret. So there's no, like, almost no separation. There's no stretching at all involved. And do it as triplets. And then you're gonna go up 1 fret at a time. And you're gonna keep going up as far as you can realistically go. So I can get up to about, with the guitar on my left leg, which if I needed to go for that, I would definitely be angled up in more of a classical position. There's not a lot of times I'm gonna need to do that, but when I do need a wide stretch, there are techniques, and I'm gonna show you the back of my hand as well as how that interacts with the thumb placement and the wrist dropping. Generally speaking, you do wanna keep a straight wrist at as many times as is possible, pretty much all the time. But by there, my wrist drops, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you that. We'll get an angle right on the back of the neck so you can see how that works with my hands. And by here, my wrist is really dropped, but I'm never gonna live there. It would be just like you gotta like make a stretch, and then, you know, you're off to the next thing where your wrist is pretty much not, you want a straight wrist. That's the bottom line. You don't wanna damage your hands. It's a very important thing. I would rather have you not get your pinky strengthened and have hands to play than to have like the strongest pinky in the world and wreck your hands. So watch out for that. But do that on all 6 strings. And so on and so forth through the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th and the 6th, the low E string. And I'll show you in detail now. Very dry, very uninspiring, but it's a good exercise. Now we want to get some independence between the third and the fourth fingers. We've been working index, fourth. Now we're going to go to third and fourth and work that. Start up here, and it's all going to be pulled just from a very basic diatonic C major scale. So this is where the notes come from, but this is not a theory lesson, it's not a notes lesson. So we're just going to take a diatonic C scale and play it entirely all the way down the range of the guitar, down to the low E string, with third finger and fourth finger, and in triplets. And you're going to find at some point you have to cross over. Now you could cross over on the G to the A, or you could extend that down the neck and then transfer here. Of course, the further down the neck you get, the wider the stretch will be. So however you want to work that, you could practice it in several different ways. And you can see, like, my index is pretty much just pointed straight out. It's all positioning of what's going on behind the neck with the hands. And look, my wrist is straight. So we're not done. Go all the way. And when you get to the bottom, then go back up. Almost missed a note, but I'm practicing too. So that's the point. Just work that slower than I did and just focus on accuracy. It's not the worst idea in the world to even do that with a metronome. Not because you're going to develop a killer groove and do that on a gig, but because you do want to be playing things in time and you want to be internalizing good time as you're doing stuff like that. So we'll go ahead now. I'll show you that up close. But that's the exercise. Just work the third to the fourth finger. Also, as a bonus, if you want to embellish on that exercise, you could also use that to practice hammer-ons and pull-offs. You could, instead of pick stroking every triplet, you could so a lot of material can be pulled from just a single exercise as far as the value you can get out of it. You could get a pinky exercise out of that and a hammer-on and a pull-off exercise out of that. In the third exercise, we're going to stick with third and fourth fingers, but we're going to go, instead of on a string by string level, we're going to go more on the vertical. axis, I should say, of the guitar. So previously we've been going more on the horizontal, and now I'm going to have you in D flat. Why? Because it's good to be practicing in keys you might not normally play in and become a better, deeper musician. Yeah, we could move our hand up and all of a sudden we'd be in a basic D major scale, which is probably more familiar, or we could go down to a basic C major scale. But let's just look at the hand positioning. And I'll fly through this because this is not a lesson on scale playing. If this is C major, the driest stuff in the world, the reason kids quit music lessons. So if I play that with the high note unchanging, and the other notes are descending in the scale. So, but I'm going to do it all with my third finger and my pinky up top. Now I'm going to do it in D flat, and I show you up close in D flat because at this point, it's, you don't want to sell yourself short. And I would go even further down that. This does get into scale playing, and I realize if you've not been practicing in the key of D flat and you haven't been practicing some of the stuff that will eventually be published, but things like linear scales, string by string, and then all through position playing, that might be a challenge. But the idea is that it's all very simple kind of piano class kind of stuff. If I move that up to D, the third finger is doing the actual scale that's descending. And the pinky up top is grabbing the static high note. You're going to find that when you do this, it's not going to be beautiful or flowing or legato. There are going to be moments you hear when I do it where you got to transfer over. Like if I grab a C sharp here and I need D right here. No, in the real world, I will never do that. It's not a practical move on the guitar to go from third finger, lift it up, note dies out, and then you use your pinky one fret behind. So why in the world are we practicing it? To become better musicians, to become better technicians, to become all around better players. Because if you can get that going, now you've got your third and your fourth really doing good mechanical exercises, and they're getting strong, and your pinky's definitely getting strong, and previously the index and the pinky. So there you go. Also, on a right hand level, you are practicing string skipping with the pick, or if you're playing fingerstyle, you're also practicing string skipping just with your fingers. See, I cheated there. It should be like that with the third finger. So I'm going to show it though in D flat up close. That'll be right here around the 9th fret. The root will be on the 9th fret. And you could pull that from The fourth exercise is from Barney Kessel in the April 1995 issue of Guitar Player magazine. in the back pages on the sessions page. So you're just going to take pentatonic scales. You're going to start with a G major pentatonic scale. And you're going to work that from your pinky on the 5th fret to your index at the 2nd fret. So you're going to play the whole thing. You can play the whole thing with the pinky as the next note up on any string. You could do like that. Now, it may have been a misprint in the magazine, but he'll show you to do back to index when you cycle back. So you're practicing going between 2nd 4 and 1 4. So whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. But you could practice this all kinds of ways, whether you want to go 1 3 on the 3rd string back to 2 4, and I'm speaking strictly in terms of fingers. Or you could just keep the 4th finger as the highest note on any particular string. And you could cycle back through the index finger and then back to the 2nd. That's the way it's printed in the magazine. But the idea is the same. The idea is you're using the pinky as the highest note, and you're getting, just like the previous exercises where we had you strengthening between the 1st and the 4th finger, here you're actually putting it into a pentatonic passage. And you can move up and down the neck, play that through various keys. Of course, you're never going to play a pentatonic scale like that on a gig, but you're going to need a strong pinky. The point of practice is not performance. So you're just practicing for the benefit that it's going to reap in your musical life as becoming a better, deeper musician who's able to play more. There you are. Because it's really fun to play great. So that's the 4th exercise. The 5th and last exercise also comes from the April 1995 issue of Guitar Player magazine. And this is just taking a bebop scale. So don't worry if you don't know what a bebop scale is, but it's playing C mixolydian with the passing natural 7 note. So yeah, it's a cool run, but you're only going to be able to do that once or twice, and it's going to sound like you're playing a scale. But the point is, this is the position your hand will be in. So if you were to take... Now what you're going to do with that is play that with the pinky always up top. Every other note will be the highest note, and we'll do like this. Again, the descending will be the other fingers, and the pinky will be the note staying up top. on the guitar as well. I suppose if you wanted to take that further, you could even do just third and fourth finger. Could you do second and fourth finger? Could you do first and fourth finger? Any exercise that I show you, you can extract as many exercises as you want and edit them and adapt them and make them your own and practice all kinds of stuff out of them. But the technical exercises, the mechanical exercises, they're the kind of stuff that really it's the stuff that where you actually, if you're always just having fun with the guitar, and you need to have fun with the guitar every day, you absolutely need to. But if all you're doing is sitting in a room and just playing stuff you already know and you're having fun with, you're not advancing. You can tell that you're advancing by having the reference point of, I couldn't do that yesterday, today I can. And so, implement some of this stuff into your daily routine and you will see the benefits. So I'll show you that up close now. I hope this helps. Until next time, keep practicing. The benefits of all this dry, boring academic exercise is that you will get more fluidity with the pinky, and you'll play things that you might not otherwise, or even phrase things and express them in a different way, things you may have been doing with other fingers to get by, even like starting out Spanish Castle Magic off of Axis, the middle of the tune, on the album Axis. Axis Bold as Love, of course. And the police didn't show up. The alarm panel is not going off.